Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, in that order. Welcome everyone. Regular rollers time, like CCR, we be rolling down the river, and like Adele, we be rolling in the deep. Let's roll. We'll start with one sent in by Matthew, who wrote, I love me some oddball and alternative rookie cards. I'm a rookie collector, and for me the Topps era, especially the 70s and 80s, can be a bit boring when all there is to collect is the player's Topps rookie base card. I'm always on the lookout for alternative rookie year cards for all-time greats. I recently came across a lot of 1984 rookie year Dan Marino Dolphins police cards. Raw versions of these goes for about $10 on eBay, and high graded copies with smaller populations compared to the Topps counterpart go for significantly more. This item had no bids, and as the auction was ending, I purchased a 5-card lot at the initial bid of $10. 5 Dan Marino rookie year cards for $10 plus shipping is a no-brainer, and if any of these look good enough for grading candidates, I might consider sending them off to PSA. But either way, for me, this is a win, and these are a welcome addition to the collection. Yeah, I totally agree. I've mentioned a bunch of times I'm a fan of alternative rookies for a couple reasons. One, like they're generally quite affordable, and two, like you said, it sort of can add a little bit of interest to the chase and to the collecting, aspect of the hobby. This was sent in by Aaron, who wrote, just thought I'd share a project I just finished. I've always liked the Noir sneaker spotlight set in basketball. When I saw that Kawhi had one, I had to have it. I actually found a pair of the shoes used in the card on clearance, so I had an idea for a project, and I thought it came out pretty cool. Yeah, that's a really cool project. And yeah, these Noir cards, I don't know how nice they look in photos, but in person they are really, really beautiful cards. I totally agree with you there. This one's sent in by Dan, who wrote, here's something for regular rollers, a completely absurd eBay listing. As you can see, it's a terribly miscut graded card by grademycards.com as a 5. Yeah, I'm going to use this to sort of highlight why I prefer the vaults over eBay nowadays for graded cards. I mean, to me, it's like a no-brainer. This card would not be allowed in the vaults, and it shouldn't be allowed in the vaults. This is not a legit graded card. Grademycards.com is, not considered credible, and if you thought they were, I mean, take a look at this card here. This is not an EX5 card. This is a 1 or an authentic, or I guess maybe PSA would use a qualifier, but it's wildly miscut on the front and on the back. It's nowhere near an EX5. On eBay, you can list this as, hey, here's a card graded an EX5 by a grading company, whereas in the vaults, they just wouldn't allow it, because in the vaults, they're professional card companies who know better. On eBay, anyone's allowed to list anything. And, this card went for $23, so it's not like there was a big problem here, and I'm not saying like you shouldn't be allowed to sell this card at all. I just don't think you should be able to list it as a legitimate graded card, which is what's been done with the listing here. It bothers me that, a newer collector might see this listing and think that, oh, this is a legitimate, professionally graded EX5 card, and when it's clearly not. And, with the vaults, you just can't do that. This was sent in by Jake, who wrote, check out this 2021 Topps Shohei Ohtani through the years 2019 auto patch reprint PSA 10 on eBay. What are people thinking? These are just reprints of the actual card. It's not actually signed, and it's not a real patch. Seller even states it's a reprint. Crazy. I think it would pass the eBay authentication, and the buyer would be stuck with it. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I've mentioned this set a number of times on regular rolls and in one of my reprint videos, my thoughts on reprints videos. And this is just an unfortunate set that Topps put out, because it's clearly caused a lot of confusion to newer collectors with online sales who look at this and think it's a legit patch autograph card, which it isn't. It's just a photo of a nice patch autograph card, and there's no patch on there, and there's no auto on here. And this is a very, very common insert. Like, it's not a rare card at all. It's quite common. It sells for about $30 to $40 raw today on eBay, but that's really just because Ohtani's been blowing up. Really, this card should be just a few dollars under normal circumstances. It would be. This PSA 10 went for $890. That is, that's crazy price, really, to be perfectly honest. And the seller's, I would say, mostly okay here. I mean, 2021 Topps Shohei Ohtani through the years, that's all accurate. Now, they did put 2019, and I don't like that. They did put auto, they don't like that, and they did put patch, I don't like that. They put all three of those words in the title. I think that those are misleading, because this is not a 2019 card, it's not an auto, and it's not a patch. But then they also put reprint in big bold letters. So I think they're sort of mostly okay, but I would nitpick it. And I wish they wouldn't put those 3 words in there that could be misleading. Also, this has to be put on the buyer though. I mean, for, not doing your research here, it says reprint pretty clearly. I don't know. I would like to hear people's thoughts as to what you think about the listing here. My guess is this would pass eBay authentication. It's possible not, because it has those words in the title, which could be construed as misleading. But really, I just think it was unfortunate that Topps put out this set. It's just a very misleading set for online sales. This was sent in by Jason, who just wanted to see your thoughts on this lot. I got it for 50 British pounds on eBay. It was listed for 100 pounds. Worst case, I thought the double auto and the Sutton patch were cool ads for my PC. Yeah, so 50 British pounds, I guess, is something like $75. I didn't check the exact the exchange rate at the moment. Somewhere around $75. And yeah, this is a fun lot for that price. I probably would have paid that. The double auto, I mean, Frank Robinson and Brooks Robinson double auto on the sweet spot card there is really nice. I don't know what that would go for, but I would guess you would do well here. The Sutton, yeah, patch is a really nice patch as well. Some other autos of not necessarily Hall of Famers, but relevant players, Al Rosen, Keith Hernandez, and others. I think you're gonna, if you were to like resell everything, I think you would make a profit, not a huge profit, but a small profit. And yeah, some of those cards, the double, Robinson auto, Frank Robinson and Brooks Robinson. If you're an Orioles fan, that's a pretty unique item. So you could, and probably pretty rare. So that's probably something you could sort of set a high asking price on if you wanted. But yeah, I think you did fine. This was sent by Ryan Hurd. I wasn't the buyer on these, but I regularly visit this seller's store. I missed these bargains by mere minutes. Imagine my regret for not logging on sooner. However, the next day I did pick up the coveted Pete Rose from the set for $3.30, which I cannot complain about. But doing the math and assuming it was one buyer, they got around $500 in stellar rookie cards for just $10. That is insane. Yeah, wow. This is a I don't know, just a mistake by the seller here. These are big money cards. The Clemens and the Puckett are both well into three figures. The Gooden is a $50+ card for sure. Yeah, you're probably right. There's probably, depending on condition, there's probably about $500 worth of cards. They're listed for $3.30 a piece. So yeah, just a mistake by the seller, I guess, and somebody, like you mentioned, probably got an amazing bargain here. This was sent by Eli, who wrote, I just received a PSA submission back this week, which included a purchase I made a few months ago. The listing is no longer active, but it was a sealed pack of UConn women's basketball cards from Diana Taurasi's freshman year, and it was about $65, including shipping and tax. I actually bought it because I'm putting together a Sue Bird run, and I figured Taurasi's first ever card was a bonus. I opened the packs, and the cards looked pretty good, so I sent them off to PSA. When I opened the package on Monday, they both came back as PSA Mint 9s. For the Sue Bird, that makes it a pop 3 with none graded higher, and for the Taurasi, it's a pop 23 with 7 higher. Just 3 days after the return, Taurasi became the first WNBA player to reach 10,000 career points. Pretty cool timing. I thought this was a pretty good deal for two WNBA players that are thrown around as the GOAT in the GOAT debate. For reference, a PSA 9 of the Sue Bird is currently listed on PWCC for $324, and a BGS 9 of the Taurasi actually sold around $100 a few months ago, so I'm already well ahead considering I'm about $115, including grading fees all in. These are definitely long-term holds for me, though, as I'm a lifelong Sue Bird fan, and I think Taurasi has quite a bit more potential. This was sent by Sam Road. I was inspired by the Vintage Hall of Fame lot from last week's regular rollers, so I started scouring eBay for large, mostly Hall of Fame vintage lots. This one was originally listed for $250. I knew that was too high, so I offered $180. The seller declined, so I figured I would not be getting this lot. It seemed the seller wanted to sell this fairly quickly, so I got a message later that evening, and I ended up sending a few messages back and forth and was able to get the lot for $150 with free shipping. I plan on keeping several cards for my PC, and then we'll attempt to sell others to make my money back at maybe $3 to $10 per card. I don't think I'll double my money, but maybe just get some free cards for my PC and maybe make a few bucks. Yeah, this lot looks like a nice buy at $150. Kind of like what you said. I don't think you're going to strike gold or anything here, but you'll probably do well. Got a bunch of stars from the late 60s, early 70s of 71 rows down at the bottom. You got 70 rows, all stars on the second row, and a bunch of other stars, some 69 stars at the top, some 72, 73, 74 stars. You got 72 Aaron, a 72 Willie Mays in action, some late 70s stars, more mid 70s stars. So I mean, it's really all about condition, but at first glance here, assuming they're all sort of mid-grade condition or so, this is a lot I probably would have paid $150 for. This was sent by Ruben, or I recently saw this 1998 Sports Illustrated Extra Edition at a $250 Ken Griffey Jr. closing on eBay in the middle of the afternoon. I'd never heard of this set, but did some quick research, discovered they were pack pulled, and that the serial number was legit and not aftermarket. 1998 was the height of my first stint in the card collecting, so being able to snag a relatively low serial numbered PSA 8 Ken Griffey Jr. for under $30 all in was a real treat. This card, cert number and all, was sold this January for $101. It's a pop 2 with 5 higher, and one lower. Definitely rare, but also fairly obscure. Side note, this was a Fleer set, and it included a second parallel called the first edition numbered at 1 of 1. This has to be one of the earliest 1 of 1 sets. Wondering if you could shed some more light on the history of 1 of 1 cards. Yeah, very, very cool Griffey card here. I love the in-action shot there on the photo they used for the card. But 1 of 1s, I believe the first 1 of 1 set was actually a year earlier, 1997. All the early 1 of 1 sets were Fleer brands. They were sort of the first to come up with it. But 1997 Flair Showcase, which was a Fleer brand, had a Legacy 1 of 1, and 1997 Ultra had a Platinum parallel, which was a 1 of 1. I believe those are the first 1 of 1 sets. This was sent by Grant, who wrote, I was scrolling through eBay and found a seller that is selling a large amount of printing plates. I'm not aware of the history of printing plates, but the oldest I'd ever seen before was in the mid-90s. However, this seller is selling printing plates ranging back to the 60s, including this 1966 Dick Butkus printing plate, and the item description states non-auto 1 of 1. This is Butkus' rookie, and if this were a true 1 of 1 printing plate, it would be worth a very large sum of money compared to the $90 being asked. He also has a 1968 Willie Mays for sale with the same description and price as the seller simply making these and trying to sell to collectors as the printing plates that we see in the hobby today. I would love your thoughts on this. This seems like a deceptive way to trick buyers, especially with modern cards for sale in which there are actually printing plates that were produced by manufacturers. The item description reads, this card is not a pack-pulled printing plate. The card was likely supposed to be destroyed by the manufacturer after a test run and was smuggled or backdoored and sold on the marketplace. I would love your thoughts. I'm not familiar with these at all. I would have a really hard time believing that these are the actual printing plates from the 1960s used by Topps. My guess is that these are fake, and I don't know that for sure. So don't want to call anyone out, but I would advise anyone considering these to stay away. This was sent by Nick, who wrote, I picked up this lot primarily because of the Riley Green black gold parallel, which you can see in the top left of the photos. This card alone sells consistently between $40 and $60. The card is 1 in 313 hobby packs pull. Plus there are 26 other rookies, some of which are even serial numbered. A few reasons why I think I got a great deal on the lot. 1, it has a poor listing title. 2, the sellers seem to only sell basketball cards, so I don't think they were knowledgeable about baseball. And 3, poor photos. Literally there was a glare on the most valuable card. Yeah, congrats on that bargain. Nice job of sort of bargain hunting and finding a deal here. And I think your analysis is spot on. And we'll finish on a vintage bargain. This was sent by Rick, who wrote, I've been working on the Ernie Banks Topps Master set for a while now. This has to be one of the hardest pieces to find. The 1969 12-panel vertical stamps are almost impossible. This is only the second Banks vertical panel I've ever seen for sale. There is one other currently listed at $2,200 on eBay at the moment. To be able to have gotten this entire collection for $380 blows my mind. Wow, yeah, absolute bargain here. Congrats on that. Sounds like you've been hunting for this for a while, so I'd say you deserve the good deal here, and yeah, nice vintage bargain to close the show. But that's it for this week's regular rollers. Hope everyone enjoyed, and whether you are high or regular, keep on rolling. Thanks, everyone.